Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. And I was looking through some videos of a channel, as a matter of fact, that I just subscribed to, and he's got a contest going on, and I really don't want to get into the contest, but I kind of liked what he was asking folks to make videos on, and that is show your knife collection. Now, I've been wanting to get into a little bit more on doing some knife videos, and as you can see from the table, I've got a few knives to choose from. So I thought I would kind of make a collection video here. This represents about 75% of my knife collection. I just simply ran out of table. At any rate, the channel that's having the contest is the Master Knife Collector. And he's having a 40 subs contest, and it's running until May the 14th. Now, he's a young man. He's I think he's 13 years old, and he well, I think he started his channel like back in February, and he's already got a whole bunch of videos, some of them very, very short. But I decided I would kind of like to give him some exposure, try to help him along a little bit, and at the same time have the fun of showing off some of my knives. Okay? Now, of course, I can't go through all these knives. It would take way too long. But I thought I would pluck one out every now and then, and you know, based on its significance to me. Now, these knives right here are my large camp knives, I call them. Okay, and in this category, here's one knife that I got to show you, and that's this one right here. This knife right here, I made myself. Okay, and the steel was from a saw blade out of an old saw blade out of a small sawmill, and my dad kind of helped me rough cut it, and I did all the file work to get the shape, the clip point, and the edge, and we had it oil tempered, and I made the handle, which if you really look at it, it's kind of crooked. But at any rate, that was my beginning and end of my knife making, and I did that when I was 14, so still kind of proud of it. Made the sheath too, kind of neat. Alright, and this is a Hudson Bay designed camp knife from Bark River. Of course, the R-Tac. This is a Russian knife, which is a really nice knife. The Sawed Creed. Here's like a 1990 version of the Cold Steel Trailmaster. These last three knives right here, I call them big camp knives, but they might be better categorized as heavy machetes. The first two right here, these are Golocks, and they are custom knives from Bark River. And of course, this right here is a kind of a new knife from Tops. It's their Bolo, made out of spring steel. And I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to beating on that knife some. I haven't even had a chance to take that out yet. All right, now along here we have larger knives. Some of these are considered combat knives. Most of these I use just as camp knives. Okay. This knife's kind of significant to me. This is the Bark River Teddy, and this represents the very first Bark River I bought. And I've bought any since then. Here's an Entrek knife. They make a good solid knife. I like their knives. Of course, here's a Gerber dagger type of knife. Here's an SRK from back in the early 90s, very early 90s. Here's another Tops, the Mountain Lion. The A1 from Fall Neven. So as you can see, here's an Eck knife, which is a excellent quality knife. Here's a Glock knife, and I don't know, maybe 18, 20 years ago, I first started hearing and learning about bushcraft, and this Glock knife here, the edge on it I didn't like, so I kind of made it into a Scandi edge, trying to make a little bit longer bushcrafting type knife. All right, now these knives right here, I call them, these are the knives that has actually served our country, okay, specifically. Now, these three knives here and this knife right here actually served in World War II, and this is a World War I knife. This knife right here happens to be the knife that my dad carried in Korea. Brought it from home. Now, in World War II, everybody thinks that, or some people think, that, you know, it was only the K-bar and derivatives of the K-bar that were the knives of the U.S. military. But to be honest with you, when we first entered that war, everybody that made knives was commissioned to make knives for the war effort. And one of the finer knives, actually from that, according to my family anyway, was this knife right here. This has been kind of cleaned up and polished up and everything, but this is a Q knife, okay, and this is manufactured from, I don't know if this is going to show up. Doesn't look like it wants to focus on it. But anyway, it's Cattaraugus, I think the name is pronounced. At any rate, Cattaraugus and Case made this knife, and this is a Q knife, and basically, or quartermaster's knife, and it was one of the specific blades that was actually commissioned for the military. And it's very robust. The bottom end of it was actually built for hammering, like hammering down a tent peg. And I have a version that hasn't been cleaned up hardly any at all, as you can see. But these are robust, good knives, excellent camping knives. This knife right here is a Bolo knife, and this was actually manufactured in 1918. I don't know if that's going to show, but by Plum, and Plum manufactured axes. And this knife right here, one similar to this knife right here, was what one of my uncles told me was his preferred knife, and he actually won it in a card game. Now, this knife right here was given to me by a very dear friend who's no longer with us, but he actually obtained this knife by taking it out of his leg. He was in Vietnam, and he was on a patrol and was ambushed by VC, and the ambush turned into hand-to-hand combat, and he got this knife actually from an individual that he killed and took the knife out of his own leg. Cool story to have with a knife. Very dear item for me. Now these knives right here are skinning knives, and matter of fact, this knife right here is made by Rigid, and like Rigid tools, and it was my father's favorite skinning knife. Now over here we got a bunch of medium-sized knives that probably fits the category that I use and enjoy the most. This Northwest Ranger I showed in my hunting camp back in November, and here's a pretty cool knife for me. This is a knife that my father gave me when I was 12 years old. It's made from Craftsman. I haven't had to test out their replacement policy on it yet. It's given me many years of good service. And here are the bushcrafting types of knives. I've got a Healy, and this is a Spyderco. This knife was made by Blind Horse Knives for Wilderness Outfitters. This, of course, is Fiddleback Forge. A couple of Moores, a couple more Park Rivers. Now, as you can see, I got a few Swiss Army knives, and I've got both Winger and Victorinox. Really don't have a preference. And there's a look at a bunch of, or some of my pocket knives. Pocket knives is what is least on the table right now. I've got a bunch of pocket knives that I just didn't have room to show. Oh, let me show this knife right here, because I know all you knife channels out there, y'all love your Spydercos. I don't happen to be a Spyderco fan, but this is one I bought about 10-12 years ago. This is a Spyderco Delica. I just don't like that hump. I just think that makes the knife look ugly, but you know, to each their own. Here's some multi-tools, and this one right here happens to be one that's in very good condition, but this is the first Leatherman that Leatherman put out, and that was also the very first multi-tool that I had. Now, this was a second one that I bought, and I actually put it in a bag. And I put it in a bag, you know, for, you know, to grab in case you had to evacuate for a hurricane or something. Actually, that was probably 10-15 years before I'd ever heard the term bug out bag, but at any rate. Now, right here, I don't know if bayonets were supposed to be included in this contest. Once again, this is not a contest entry, but I did want to show you a couple of bayonets that I have that are significant to me. This one here, which I hope shows up. is from World War One. And come on, focus in there, big boy. But at any rate, this was made in 1906. Okay. Now, when we entered World War II, once again, we were kind of caught without a lot of equipment. Now, they had changed what they wanted for a bayonet when we started World War II, and this is one of those bayonets right here. This one here was manufactured in 1913, and as you can see by looking at this blood groove that's on here, this used to be the same type of, the same length as that right there, but they cut it down to 10 inches, okay, because that's what they decided to use with weapons like the M1 Garand for World War II. All right, well, that's a short look at my knife collection. Once again, go and check the Master Knife Collector out. Seems to be a very nice young man. Show him some support. And thank you for watching this video. If y'all are interested, I would like to start doing some knife videos, so kind of let me know if you think I have some stuff here that y'all want to see in a little bit more detail. And with that, thank you for watching, and remember, shoot straight on the range and in life. Thanks.